Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me directly through Benji at alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and support our broadcasts. People of Distinction is an internationally syndicated show because of viewers like you. People, we're available on all major podcasts as well as YouTube. So if you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. All right, we appreciate the support. Keep on showing the love, and do me a favor, sit back and strap in because we are very excited to showcase this next guest here with us on our network. And on the line with us today, we have Norbert G. Gomes. We're going to be discussing his amazing book, Ireland's Unparalleled Essence. Now it's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com, pretty much all the regular online book resellers. But people, if you want to gather everything that Norbert has in store, and I mean everything because Norbert has a lot in store. This man has 5 volumes of this poetry book and hopefully much more on the horizon. We'll cover that in a bit, but you're going to want to head on over to his personal website. That's norbertggomes.com. There you'll find more information on him, more information on his fantastic poetry books, as well as find hyperlinks set up to take you to those purchasing pages that I mentioned a little while ago. So once again, that's norbertggomes.com. And before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity and point out that Norbert was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by Quipper Prints. So for my writers out there listening in, if you have gone through your process creating your masterpiece and now you need help moving the book you just developed, head on over to quipperprints.com. Their team specializes in just that. They're going to be able to assist you in all of your marketing endeavors. So once again, that's quipperprints.com. Head on over there today and figure out all the ways they're going to be able to help move your creative endeavors. Now, people, it is an absolute pleasure to have Norbert here on the line with us. Right there in the title, you see the word Ireland. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the country of Ireland, right? I mentioned it was a poetry book before, so poetry about Ireland. Okay, we're starting to piece everything together. I promise you, a piece is all you got because these books are magnificent. There is so much happening here from a historical perspective, from just his personal experiences, from the communities that he was engulfed in. People, I'm telling you, sit back and strap in. This is going to be a ride. And there are a lot of nuances here, not only within his poetry, not only within his experiences, but you're going to hear me mention this a number of times. From a macro perspective, read in between the lines, listen to what he says, and then think back to your life right now. And if there are certain things that we can take, certain things, especially from a community perspective, in terms of the pride, in terms of the unity that he really experienced there, and maybe the lack thereof that we have here in the States. That's all I'm going to say at this moment. Sit back, strap in. Norbert's the man of the hour. It's his book. He's written it. It's his life. He's lived it. He's going to be able to articulate everything much better than I ever could. Norbert, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing terrific. Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Cole.
Absolutely. Listen, the pleasure is all ours, Norbert. We're really looking forward to this. I myself have never traveled to Ireland, and I'm going to take the trip there very soon, man, but we're loving this book. I love how personal it is to you, but also how it's going to be able to not only reflect Ireland in a very positive way, but also connect with readers, whether they've traveled there or not. Before we go into your book, Norbert, start off by letting our listening audience know a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
Well, I spent 30 years in broadcasting. I've tinkered with writing off and on, but didn't really click into it until I went to Ireland a couple of years ago. My wife is of Irish roots, And we'd been traveling and have been going to different places. And finally, we decided that we had to go take a look at her roots. And once we got to Ireland, I fell in love with Ireland and made a point that I needed to find and discover everything about Ireland that I could, and sit down to putting it on paper.
Well, listen, a great segue you've established there for us, Norbert. I want to go into that inspiration there. You mentioned your wife is from there, so okay, we have that connection. You visited there, had a great time. It really impressed you and touched you, I guess, in a way. But that could have just stayed as a personal experience that you shared and that you really loved. To take it to this extent where now you've written 5 volumes, all dedicated to this country and this subject matter. What inspired you to write this poetry?
The more I learned about Ireland, the more I learned about the Irish people, the more I learned about all of the events that are part of the historical background of Ireland. And there are many. These people have gone through many struggles through decades and decades and centuries. I just became enthralled and became so awed by it that I made a point that I needed to take everything that I could possibly learn about Ireland and start writing about it. And the more I read and the more I spoke to Irish people and the more I visited all of the counties, the more I learned, the more excited I became about it. And it just became embedded in me, and I just couldn't break away. I was writing every single night that I was there, the 3 weeks that I was there. Every night I was going to bed in the early hours of the morning, having spent almost the entire evening writing. So yeah, Ireland just invoked something in me that said, this needs to be put down on paper and given some rhythm and some rhyme so people can read it and enjoy it and learn to love what great people and what a great country Ireland is.
Yeah. You know, another great aspect of your books, not only is the poetry magnificent, but I think your structure is very unique as well. There is clear intent behind how you chose to go about it. I mean, it's not just a myriad of poems scattered together in one book. You actually have 6 particular categories, if I may, and that all address different parts of Ireland, not only from the historical aspect, but also from your personal experiences. 2-part question here. What inspired you to configure the book in that way and structure it that way? And also tell us a little bit more about each one of those specific categories.
Oh, great. Yeah, well, once I started absorbing all of this, I realized that, you couldn't just randomly write about Ireland. It had to have some kind of logical unfolding, that it had to make sense so that people, when they read it, they could move from one section to another and understand how it all ties together. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the very first things that I realized as I was writing all of this poetry. And I started within 3 days categorizing things. And as I traveled and continued writing, the categories grew to 6 categories. And the 6 categories were first the Irish extraordinary past, which covers the history of Ireland from the very beginning, from the crossings at Doggerland to the very present. The second section was what I call the Irish pervasive jaunt. And I call that a jaunt because that's the tale of my travels through Ireland, through the 32 counties. There are 32 counties. And they're not in alphabetical order. They're actually written in the way that I traveled through the entire Emerald Isle. Mm-hmm. The third section is the legendary myths of Ireland. And there are many that have been passed on from generation to generation, even to this day. And they're great stories. They're incredibly great stories. The fourth section was, when you go to Ireland, you just can't avoid it. You will visit castles. you will visit strongholds. So I took and I wrote about each of those strongholds and castles, kingdoms, and gave you a kind of an insight of what it was like, because they were very, very important to the history of how Ireland just became Ireland. And then there was the fifth section, and the fifth section is very interesting because it's just unique, different aspects that I learned that surprised me, and I call this Irish prodigious epiphanies. And there are many of them, and they're related to America. There's some of them that are very much related to America, and of course some of them that are very much related to Ireland. But they're surprising, and they're unique, and they're awe-inspiring. And then the last section that I wrote about is Irish conspicuous wordsmiths. And Ireland and its literature is known worldwide. It has produced immense numbers of great writers that have affected the Irish literature and affected world literature. So those are the 6 sections. And once I started traveling and started gathering the information, I realized in my mind, this could not be something that you just did willy-nilly and threw it together randomly, that it had to have a structure so that people could follow it comfortably and enjoy it and be able to read something and then reflect back, oh yeah, in volume 1 that was also mentioned, etc. So that's how that all came about.
I love it. People, again, it's called Ireland's Unparalleled Essence. Remember, there's 5 volumes, okay? You're gonna wanna get lost in every single one of these. I promise you, start with volume 1, but you'll quickly see you want to get the rest of them as well. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's NorbertGGomes.com. Head on over there today, pick up copies of all of them, and like I said, just get lost in this magnificent book of poetry. Norbert, follow-up question that I want to go into. I know your book is filled with all of your, again, historical context, things that you've discovered, but also your personal experiences. Well, I want to go into one of them, if possible. Can you share one of your personal experiences, or maybe a couple, that maybe influenced one of your poems?
One of them is going to Belfast and seeing where the Titanic was built, where it was docked, where it was put out to sea from. That was a very moving experience. They have built an incredible museum, and I suggest to everyone and anyone, you need to put Ireland in your bucket list. There is no ifs, ands, or buts, or why. Going to Ireland is just an absolutely incredible experience that will just make your heart feel good. And one of the things that I fell in love with was the Irish people. They are warm, they are kind, they are generous, they are very helpful. Oh, here's a great experience. When I was leaving Temple University and was walking across the street, they're all cobblestone streets, there. And I'm an elderly man, so I have a tendency of dragging my feet a bit, and I stumbled and I came crashing on my face. And it was absolutely fabulous how the people there, without hesitation, were right on top of me to help me and to assist me and concerned. I mean, there aren't many places here in the U.S. if you follow somebody who will just kind of walk by and look at you and just keep going. There, they just came, a bunch of them, and were trying to help me and so forth. It was just amazing. The warmth of the Irish people is wonderful. And yes, even if you don't drink, you need to go to the pubs just so that you can enjoy that atmosphere, that ambience of the pubs and the people. It's just very joyful.
Follow up, and my listening audience is going to get very upset with me if I don't hurry up and ask here, Norbert. This is a book of poetry. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to share one with us. So please, if you have one readily available, we're all ears.
Well, let me grab my book here.
Absolutely.
I mentioned to you about going to Belfast and going to the museum there. And this is one that I wrote about the Titanic. This is called "Songs of the Abyss: Titanic's Lament in Belfast's Skies." In Belfast's embrace, 'neath Irish skies, a ship of grandeur began to rise. Titanic, they named her, mighty and true, a marvel of might in shades of blue. Gallic hands crafted her with utmost care, with Celtic wisdom, love in the air. Belfast's pride, a masterpiece so fine, a symbol of strength, destined on shine. Upon her decks, dreams set sail, a voyage ahead, a wondrous tale. From Southampton's shores, brave hearts embarked, bound for New York, destiny marked. Cherbourg and Queenstown welcome her grace as her journey forth with steady pace. Across the ocean, waves rolling high, Titanic sail, reaching for the sky. Splendor within her hollow halls, a haven of souls on daring calls. Swimming pools gleamed with shimmering light, the gymnasium promised, spirit took flight. Turkish baths offered solace and rest, a touch of luxury, a voyage's best. Safety ensured with compartments so strong, lifeboats ready, they sang a hopeful song. But fate cast its icy gaze that night, a collision, an iceberg, a tragic sight. The North Atlantic's cold, unforgiving hand unleashed sorrow upon this grandest land. Water rushed in, engulfing her might, silent whispers echoed through the night. The lifeboats launched, hope began to fade, a dance with destiny, a cruel charade. Heart-wrenching cries pierced the sea's lament, a dirge of lives lost, souls heaven sent. The tragedy echoed, a mournful knell, as the unsinkable ship found her watery hell. Yet from the depths of sorrow's domain, the legacy of Titanic would remain. She taught the world with her final plea of safety's call, a lasting decree. In literature's pages, her story thrives. In films and art, her memory survives. A testament to bravery, love, and pain, the Titanic legend forever shall reign.
Love that.
It was a great experience going to that museum. For those of you who are going to Belfast, that is a place that you definitely have to stop in, because there is so much there to see and so much to learn and so much to understand about that great experience.
You know, Norbert, first of all, I love the poem. I love your imagery. But do you have a favorite experience or a favorite memory on traveling to Ireland, Norbert?
You know, there's so much enlightenment all over Ireland. It's hard to pinpoint it. But I always think of the county of Galway and Galway itself, and the streets of Galway and the people of Galway, and the shops and the colorful buildings and the histories. I mean, I enjoyed that immensely. There's so much there to see and so much to enjoy, and you can't even stop there. I mean, you can just, there's Kilkenny and other places in Ireland, and of course, I can't even begin to say enough about Dublin. Dublin is just an amazing place to visit, an amazing place to go to, and so many incredible structures and so much history, so much history. And I suppose that probably when I think of Ireland, Galway pops into my mind because I had so much fun there and enjoyed it and learned so much of it. And I guess probably I did hang around a few of the pubs, maybe a little too much. But in any case, yeah, Galway definitely stands as a warm place in my heart.
People, you know where you gotta go, man. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's NorbertGGomes.com. Head on over there, pick up copies of this book today because you're gonna want to get lost in it. As we close out of here, Norbert, I think it's something we've already covered. I think it's something that's probably safe to assume, but I have you here on the line. I'm gonna go directly to the source and I'm gonna ask it. What would you say, amongst all of your books, right, the 5 volumes, what would you say is an overarching theme that is carried throughout that you're really wanting your readers to pick up, or messages that you're really wanting them to receive from your books?
Good question. I believe that what my reader will get out of the 5 volumes will be the appreciation of the struggles and the events that shaped Ireland, and albeit it hasn't gone without conflicts, heaven forbid, they're there. Yeah. But even through all of that, there's something that binds all those people together, that makes them one, and gives them incredible energy and incredible pride about their country, and that they love to share with everyone. And that, to me, that's probably what really got me going, was the pride and the enthusiasm and how much they love to talk about the different aspects of their country and all of the events and things. Oh, and don't forget the landscape of Ireland and the sights throughout Ireland as you travel around. And I do recommend that you visit as many of the counties as you can, because every county has something wonderful to offer. It has its own individual culture within a culture. You'll just be mesmerized by it. But most of all, you'll be mesmerized by the absolute wonderful people that the Irish are. They are incredible. And I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to share a little bit of their time and take away from their time and ask questions and be in their midst. It was just an absolutely incredible experience, and I would believe that the reader will get that from reading the 5 volumes. And when you get to the writers, to the wordsmiths, you'll become immersed in how much their words really reflect the depth and the love of Ireland, especially when you get to W.B. Yeats. You will realize that no one of all the writers loved that country more than he did. And Ireland, Ireland adores him. So, I hope everyone goes out and buys Volume 1, and it inspires them to buy Volume 2, and then Volume 3 and 4, and when you get to 5, and you get to the wordsmiths, it'll just all wrap it up into a nice package that you'll be able to understand. And then, if you haven't gone, make plans. Go to Ireland. Go and embrace those beautiful people, because they will embrace you.
Listen, man, we're talking about his fantastic books. Ireland's Unparalleled Essence. 5 volumes of them. Pick up every single one. Learn the history. Learn about the communities. Learn about the people. Learn about the pride that they have. Learn about this fantastic poetry that this man has comprised and put together, showcasing all of that. I'm telling you, this book carries a lot. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's NorbertGGomes.com. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, get lost in every single one of these books. Norbert, I said it before, I'm gonna say it again, man. This has been an absolute pleasure, a true honor. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you, sir.